Hello everyone. So before we get started, if you are enjoying the videos and find them informative, why don't you go ahead and think about liking and subscribing? It really does help out, and I want to do this full time. I just want to help y'all learn how to make games. It's what I love to do. And then, once you do that, have a great day. Otherwise, you know what? I still want you to have a great day. So, with that out of the way, this shameless plug, let's get into the video. Alright, we have our weapon aiming, firing, reloading, but we don't really have too clear of an indication on where we're aiming, and so it kind of makes it a little harder to hit our enemies than we would like. So we're going to go over two methods for adding in an aiming system. First one being the traditional way of putting a little crosshair on our HUD and then fading it in. And then the second way is a more diegetic method, which diegetic just means it's something that is observable in the actual game world by the players. So we'll use a red dot, and then we'll update its location based on where our character's aiming. For this video, we're going to do just the... Oh, I forgot I moved this for that short I made. Just going to move it back. That works. So in our player HUD, we can grab out an image to drop onto our canvas panel that is anchored to the dead center. Alignments set to 0.5 on both, and then reset the X and the Y to 0 so that it's lined up right in the middle. So we're going to, you can either use a crosshair image here if you want to. I'm going to use this box image itself and make it look like a dot. So I'm going to turn it into a rounded box and then set its size X and Y to about 5, I think was looking good. Good enough at least. Then we'll go down here to the animations panel and we'll add a new one. This will be our fade crosshair. Then we'll click it. We're going to add. We can get all named widgets here and find the crosshair that we never aimed or never called. So let's select that image and we'll just title it crosshair. Now with it actually selected, it'll make it a little easier because then we can just click add and it'll be right here at the top. You can either do that or go down here and then there it is, but I'm just going to click here. So the way we can make it fade in and out of our screen is we're going to add a new track right here of the render opacity. And at the very beginning, it will be set to 0. This red line is how long the animation lasts, so we want it to be about 0.5 seconds is about what our aiming camera transition takes. Grabbing this little scrubber, we can move it to the end and set its render opacity to 1. And then without it selected, we can kind of see it'll fade in and out. Now that's great, but if we deselect our animation, we can see it's already on the screen, which we don't want. So we'll select it one more time, go down its details panel to its render opacity and set it to 0 so that it defaults to hidden. We'll compile that. We'll go over to our event graph and we're going to right click and create two custom events. The first one will be show crosshair, and the second one will be hide crosshair. And we can go over into our variables panel and we'll see this new list that says animations. We can click that. We'll have access to our fade crosshair that we made. We'll get it, and on show crosshair, we want to drag off and type play animation. That'll actually grab the animation and play it. If you're calling this in your player blueprint, like if you're just over there and you're pulling this from your HUD reference and calling it, you will need a reference to the HUD itself. So, like if you're in the player blueprint and you're calling this, then make sure you put in your player HUD reference here because the target is a user widget, not the actor. But doing it in the actual UI graph, it makes it easier. And you can either copy this and paste it, but I'm going to drag out and do a play animation. Oh, if I can spell animation reverse to plug into the hide crosshair. There we go. So now when we call show crosshair, it plays that animation forward, and when we hide it, it plays it in reverse. To actually call that, we'll go into our player blueprint, and we'll go find our aiming function. And right here, right after we adjust the walk speed, I'm going to drag this down a little bit, grab out a reference to my player HUD, and this should be existing at this point. If it's not, you can right click and convert to a validate just to make sure, but I'm just going to do it this way. So when we're aiming, I'm going to grab my show crosshair function and plug it in here, and we'll do it into the play. And then from the player HUD, we will hide crosshair for the release and plug that into our reverse. So we'll jump into the game real quick, and we'll now see. So we got our aiming dot. One thing I did notice the first time I recorded this and then had a mistake, so I had to restart, is it's a little off. So we can adjust our aim by going into the player, into our fire trace event. And what's happening is it's getting the where we're doing the start and end trace for our firing, we're using the weapon reference and the fire from, so it's kind of off at an angle instead of on our camera. We can grab our follow camera and set it here and plug it into the get world location. We still need that fire from because of our fire effects, the actual muzzle flash, but now this will line up using the camera a little bit better. So, give me 1 second, he's not getting away. So that's one way you can do it, and in the next video I'll show you how to actually spawn a red dot into the world and then update it based on where you're looking so that we can position it on the characters and have a more diegetic approach. So I'll see y'all in the next one.